gap is 10 inches and it's 12-13 inches short of jack high. This ball, 18 inches short of jack high, 20 yards away. About 10 inches from the jack. The gap is about 8. Yeah, 10 inches from the jack.
Well, we're back with the live coverage here for this second round match. The number 12 seed Jonathan Ross and Hirendra Bhartu of Canada. We join it part way through the first set. 7-2 to Jonathan Ross after 5 ends. John holding 2 at the moment. John piling on the pressure here, holding 3. Hirendra just coming down to have a look at the damage. And 2 fairly wayward deliveries by Hirendra sitting there on the left as we view it. Just really needs a good draw. Well, he's gone for the weighted delivery. He's missed. There's always a danger playing that shot when you're 3 down. Sure, that was really the right shot to play. It's always going to take just the one out. John will probably be quite happy with the 3. He'll be putting in a back bowl, I would think, almost certainly, just to cover the situation. Again, rather a strange shot there. I'd have thought he would have done far better to have just drawn to reduce the tally, but he chose to fire, missing the target again. 3 shots red. 10-2 to Jonathan Ross after 6 ends. bit of a mountain to climb now for Hirendra. Just 3 ends in which to do it. 8 shots adrift. John's put up a 28.5 metre jack length here on the 7th end of the opening set. Matt up by a metre at the far end. Jack on the tee this end. And John's first 2 deliveries in shot and second shot position. Hirendra keeping this plenty of width down this forehand side. Just needs to get round that outer red. Cut back in. It holds. Well, just clip the back. It's rolled back. Could be 2.
2 shots green.
And 2 shots green it is. Well, that's 2 of the tally, but a little too late, I think. So 10-4 after 7 ends. Waiting for our scoreboard to update. Which it now does. So on this 8th end of the first set, John Ross accumulating a 6-shot advantage. It's been drawing pretty well. Hirendra, 28 metre jack length. We'll just have a little look at the shots scored on the different jack lengths. You can see there, John scoring his 10, 4 on the medium, 6 on the long. Hirendra his 4, 2 on the medium, 2 on the long. John just coming a little thin on this forehand side, just resting about half a metre short. Still hold shot. Hirendra just looking to come in, rest off that green, just checking across, and it sits there. Looks like certainly one green.
One green.
John looking to come down a very similar line, again resting off that side green. Looks a little thin. May just catch the shot bowl, but I think it's just drifting, just lacking a little bit of weight, running through across the line of the jack. No change to shot. Green just hold that one. Doesn't want to kiss on that shot ball. Just resting in there. I think it could well be two. Just
two green.
Two green it is. Well, I think we might see some weight here from John. He does have the back bowl. And he's gone for the draw. Just needs a bit of contact on there. Just a little thick of the well. It's rolled around the front of the shot bowl, and I think it could well be shot.
One shot in the first set to red.
And indeed, he did get shot with that. The one shot red. So 11-4 to Jonathan Ross. He takes the first set, 11-4. Well, Hirendra making a good start in the opening end of this second set, holding 2 after the first 4 deliveries. John playing a bit of weight on that third shot, but just clipping his back red bowl. Well, it looks as though our outside broadcast team are about to resume coverage from the end of this end. Hirendra coming in down this backhand, looks a good line, just needs to hold. And indeed it does.
3 shots green.
3 shots to green.
Was it? Unrealistic. Don't know. I like you though for 2 days.
No, we're just waiting for our outside broadcast cameras to get into position and give us meaningful pictures, and then we'll have those on your screen as soon as possible.
Good 3.5 feet.
Well, it looks as though we're picking up the live coverage at the end of this next end. Sounds like someone's demolishing the back of the set.
One shot green.
So Jonathan Ross from Belfast, rather knocked out of his stride after winning the first set 11-4. Trailing by 4 shots in the second set to a very interesting character from Canada. A Fijian-born Hirendra Bhartu. Played rugby and cricket in Fiji and emigrated to Canada when he was 28.
Your ball 12 inches.
One of the characters of the game. First set, Jonathan Ross is superior, drawing to the jack told.
I believe that will continue as well, because Jonathan's game is very much centred around the draw to the jack with occasional running balls.
But in fact, this man rather relishes his opponent getting bowls near the jack, because as he showed against Andy Thompson, he would fire at the drop of a hat, and it was a crash bang wallop for most of the game, and he had some incredibly accurate results. Never missed a thing.
Yes, that's our technical term for the drive shot.
One green.
He does come out with some very good balls, though. Hirendra, as you say, he's a bit of a character, to say the least, and he really does enjoy himself when he's over here. And I had a chat with him earlier. He was saying, yes, he says, I've won a match and I'm really enjoying it. He has been close before, though. The thing about someone like Johnny Ross is that you have to beat him to the draw, get to the jack first.
And that's what's been happening in this second set. Hirendra, or Hiren as he prefers to be called, is 4-0 up already, standing to go 5-0 up if Jonathan can't find the antidote with his final delivery.
Yes, again, it's about tactics, and Hiren, he played that ball on the forehand. He's got a back toucher there, and really his last ball should have been on the backhand. But I don't think Jonathan can do an awful lot about this unless he decides to have a go at getting the edge of the ball. And if he does that and he gets the jack, well, he's going to be in a heap of trouble because he hasn't got position at the back of the head. You never know with Johnny, he might take a risk.
Well, he'll have thought that out, surely. If he kills the end, then he's going to drop more than one shot, I can guarantee. Because the jack will be respotted, and green holds all the position.
Yes, that's why he's deciding just to try and drop in on the backhand. Don't think that one's going to make it back in time. Well, 1 ball's on the damage.
One shot green.
And against a player like Bhartu, you do not want to go into a tie break because you just don't know what you're dealing with. And tactically, he's relatively inexperienced in comparison to the top players. And that level of unpredictability makes it very, very dangerous.
An unknown quantity, you might say.
Well, we've watched a bit of him this year, but Andy Thompson certainly found it hard when he lost to the Canadian.
Well, his previous experience at rugby and cricket stand him in good stead. He's a good ball player. Good competitor too. Jonathan Ross, one of the most consistent drawers to the jack in the top 16. When he finds his rhythm, he's really good to watch. And talking of rhythm, his opponent today, Mr. Bhartu, he's a drummer of some note. He studies drumming, Indian and Latin rhythms. As I say, interesting character.
One red. One red.
Well, Johnny Ross will not want to mess about in this match. He'll want to try and dispatch the Canadian as quickly as possible. Place in the quarter-final, up for grabs. And on paper, you would say that when Jonathan got through his first game, albeit quite comfortably against the Israeli Cecil Bransky, 12-7, 12-0, he would have been expecting to have played Andy Thompson, the fourth seed, in the next match, but with Heron getting through, a lot of people thought, well, that's a good draw for Johnny, but this man's capable of causing a bit of an upset.
He's waiting for something to happen. I'm not quite sure what's happening over there, but he's having a good chuckle about it. He's not letting whatever it is put him off.
Certainly taking his time. Well, I think it did put him off a little bit. That ball was certainly well through where it needed to be.
Well, he kept the ball in his hand for too long, I feel. If he was distracted, the best thing he could have done would be to put the ball down and start the operations from square one.
Either that or walk up the rink. Just give himself a bit of space.
That's it.
Johnny Ross just also peeling through a little bit. So one to red, but Johnny's a little bit loose in this set, and if you want to take a chance, this is the time to take it. He's better with this one. Has he got the running? Don't think so. It's just going to drop away.
It was in for a split second. Maybe, and now Jonathan Ross has asked Andy Ewins for his opinion.
Jonathan will certainly call for the marker umpire. He's not desperately good at looking at measures. Andy Ewins is saying he favours red. It'll be a very soft double. Well, again, Jonathan Ross playing 3 balls, a metre behind, and it's not good. I think he's going to get away with it, though.
Jonathan works for a fibre manufacturing company and spends a lot of his time abroad sorting out manufacturing problems for the firm, notably in Turkey, but he's also been to Brazil recently. In fact, in between rounds in the World Championship in Potters, he was flying off to Turkey.
Yes, and in some ways that can work for you and against you. It's better than spending maybe 6 or 7 days in between matches. You get away home, or alternatively you're going off to work somewhere. Well, that red's well in, got an inch or so in it. So it can work in your favour to do that. Most of the players after their first match go home.
1 shot red.
That means 1 to Jonathan Ross, the first he scored in this second set. He trails by 4 shots, 5-1. Yes, Jonathan, a member of the Belfast Indoor Club, but also a member in Paisley, because he's living at least on a temporary basis in Scotland, again with his work. And he's played league bowls in Ireland and Scotland this winter, and also he played for Kowloon Bowling Green Club in the league in Hong Kong when he spent a time there.
Yes, he was there for a couple of weeks, and typical Johnny, taking the opportunity when he can. It's impossible really to play league bowls in Belfast on a weekly basis because we've been working away and living away, but he would come in occasionally when available to play the odd match. Has been playing out of Paisley, and I'm not so sure if that's going to be on such a temporary basis, to be honest. I think Jonathan knows that it might be a year or two before things settle down. He'll find out exactly what he's doing. Obviously we've got the opportunity to talk a lot during the events over the year.
Your bowl 18 inches.
And Johnny really has to go with that company because it's a very very specialised area he works in.
Has a degree in zoology.
Yes, you can't imagine how that would fit into the scientific nature that he works in now. Certainly not involved in any form of animal husbandry, but seems to enjoy it, and he gets a lot of travel, which is good. Do it all while you can, and especially when the company's paying for it.
One red.
He got that away like an absolute sweetie, so Johnny very rarely follows anything unless he thinks he's close. So this should be fairly adjacent to the jack. Here it comes. Not too bad, that's in.
2 red.
There's a lovely line with this ball. How's the pace? Oh, that's good enough. Oh, that's a beauty.
1 green.
Yes, it's not just the heavy bowls that Hirendra Bhartu is good at. Pretty good at the drawing as well.
Yes, he hasn't managed to group them though. He's been playing quite often with one ball on end. If he can just get that level of consistency to start putting 2 and 3 balls together around the jack, he'd be a very formidable opponent. Johnny's overplayed this, and that's the sort of shot you have to force Jonathan into playing, because those are difficult shots on the portable rink. If I was Hirendra, I actually would play this in the backhand. I know he's just drawn one on the forehand, but it's dangerous. You could drop in there, it's easy, but the backhand's a safe shot, using the ball to drop off. Even if he hits the front red one, the jack's coming his way. Yes, he's seen the safer side to play. Coming in on the blind side. May not even need anything. A touch on the ball. Yes, that's excellent. Very, very good ball. Two good balls. One in the forehand, followed up by one in the backhand. And the Canadian takes a double.
You can't argue with that. 2 shots on the 5th end put the Canadian 7-1 up.
Well, that's what I was talking about in terms of consistency. Just the ability's there. There's absolutely no doubt about that. It's just a matter of having enough time on the rink, practice before you start playing your matches, and little flashes of it occasionally. He doesn't want to leave it those last 2 deliveries in every end, though, because that just creates problems.
4 ends to go and a 6-shot lead to defend. But he's improving, Corky, end by end.
Well, he is. That's a better first ball. Just about to say there that, you know, it's the first ball of the end that you have to get in close and mix it with Johnny. Oh, this is different. And this is what I was talking about, David, about grouping balls and about that level of consistency. The weight's good. They couldn't pick out the line again. It's almost a wasted ball out there. If he can get that consistency into his game, he could do a lot of damage.
Better delivery here from Jonathan Ross. This will surely be the shot.
1 red.
Well, there's something about Hirend's delivery which leads him to be a little bit erratic. There are aspects of that delivery which are not the same time and time again.
No, it's a little bit jerky, and there's no smoothness to it, really. This is better, though. Got a chance with this. He would dearly like to get the jack. No, that's very good. Drop the other ball down at the same time. Yes, it's a delivery that actually worthwhile dismantling it and rebuilding it again as a coach to try and bring some level of consistency into it.
It just shows, though, if you're competitive and you've got a good coordination of hand and eye, the delivery itself is not crucial.
Well, Johnny's going for the plant here. He would dearly like to have got actually on the jack clean. It's not a bad result. Opened the head right up. 2 green, but he has last ball.
Yes, he's worse off in the count department. He's 2 down, likely to be 3 down any minute. But he's given himself a far better chance of drawing the shot with the final delivery of the end.
He was actually off target with that running ball by a bit of a margin, to be honest. This ball's sweeping across. It's not going to be too close. In fact, it may not even stay on the rink. In fact, I think that's off. Well, that's a bad mistake. It really is. You know, a good ball there would have put Jonathan Ross under severe pressure. As it is, he'll draw the shot with this last delivery.
Yes, that ball just swung away over what we call the string. There's no actual string there. There used to be in the old days. But it's an imaginary line that runs between the 2 uprights on both banks, both ends of the green.
Well, Johnny looks like he's going to get away with this end. There's off-target hit shot, which
Yes.
he got a good result from, and his opposition
One shot
played a
red.
poor ball.
So the single to Jonathan Ross means that he trails by 5 shots now with 3 ends to play. He did win the first set 11-4, so if he could manage to collect 5 shots in 3 ends, that would be enough.
Yes, we'll see this running ball now of Johnny's. He's actually after the jack or the green ball clean. As you can see, it's starting to dip away now. On another day, that wouldn't do any damage at all. But today, it just happened to hit the ball solid. Sprung the jack out. He wasn't playing for that. But he was able to capitalise by drawing the next ball. And that was the important bit.
He'll take it.
No. And the shots against, you take anything. You know, Johnny will want to try and get up to draw this set or win it. Get this match out of the way. Better start.
It's one ball past Jack high. Can you be aware, Hirendra, there's only 6 ends been played in the second set? That's correct, yes? Yeah, we've only played 6 ends. The scoreboard is wrong.
Well, the marker just indicating that the scoreboard's wrong, and he's mentioned to Heron that it's actually 6 ends played. We know that, but the scoreboard was actually showing 7 ends played, I think.
And quite right for Andy Ewins to point that out. The last thing you want to do is to mislead the players about the amount of time there is left.
Yes, because it does affect what type of shot you're going to play. Certainly not on the first delivery. That's a beauty as a first ball. You just see, there's Andy Ewins. He's one of the World Bowls Tour marker umpires.
In their new uniform this winter. And I think it's an improvement. All in black, rather like the referee of a football match.
Yes, I think it looks well, to be honest. And of course, that means that there's absolutely no... Oh, what a brilliant goal by Johnny to get the shot back with the next delivery. You can't mistake Andy Ewins for anything other than a marker umpire in that outfit. He's certainly not a bowler. He's there looking after the bowlers in terms of the rules of the game to keep it nice and flowing, and he's an expert at that.
Well, I thought you were being a little unkind there because he is a bowler and he plays very well. You should see him when he's on his home green in Gloucestershire.
He's told me that, actually. He did mention it. I've never had any real proof of it because every time we've played our challenge matches, Andy's been a bit iffy.
The gap between the balls is 4 inches.
But he was teasing me one time about, in fact, today, me describing him as a not as a non-bowler, but as a marker umpire, and I couldn't mistake him as a bowler. And he's got a lot of ribbing about it. I think some of his colleagues in the bowling club were watching at the time.
One red.
Well, it's still a 5-shot lead defend, but Hirendra's very close with this. Has he got the jack? He has. Oh, what a beauty. Oh, fantastic ball.
Cheeky enough to turn it into 2 shots for green.
You just,
wow.
This is what I was saying about this player. You know, the skill factor is definitely there. No doubt about it. And you just flashes off it. 1 ball, maybe sometimes 2 balls in end. If he starts to put this sort of form together, he can be very dangerous. And Johnny's left with no choice but to run at this and try and get the 2 balls. This will be a pace shot. Well, that's the bouncing bomb, as we used to call it. Got the 2 of them. Oh, unlucky. He got the front edge of the red ball. I thought he had the 2 green clean.
It certainly looked like it. He wanted to leave the red bowl well alone and just clip the green. Both of the greens would have gone, I think. Let's have a look at what happens there. Yes, if he hadn't had the touch on the red, both those greens would have gone, and it would have been 2, possibly 3 shots to red.
Yes, that drive really was a very, very good ball. It was just a fraction of an inch that cost him.
And possibly cost him the set.
Well, it's only 1 to green. This is the spare shot now. This is what I was talking about. Keeping it consistent, keeping it right, taking advantage.
1 shot green.
That was a very straightforward chance to make the double.
Yeah, that was 1 for nothing. Hirendra turned down the chance. But taking a 6-shot lead into the 8th end of this second set, things are looking very good for the Canadian now. He's got his sights set firmly on a tie break.
So Andy Ewings fixes the jack on the tee, the 3-meter tee mark. So here we go with the first delivery. So Jonathan Ross to try and score realistically 3 shots in this end would bring him back into the frame.
He'd then have to score 3 on the next to tie the set and shake hands.
Both balls just dipping under.
1 green.
The marker and umpires, of course, on the Bird Bowls Tour have come through their national governing bodies umpires courses first of all. And that's usually the case with the players who enjoy the game so much they've decided to go into that area, very specialised. This is good. Just running through a shade. And they go off and do various examinations and to qualify as umpires. And we look at them in the World Bowls Tour events. They're tested out. And the panel's put together. Andy Ewing's one of the best. And Jonathan's doing what he needs to do. Put the pressure on this end.
1 red.
Almost with its exception as well, the markers and umpires in the game of bowls play bowls as well and try and get as many games in as they can as their official duties allow. It's difficult because they have to sacrifice some of their ambition on the green.
Oh, look at this one. Oh, it's come up with a chalk already on it. He must have known about that. That's a brilliant ball. That's going to make life very, very difficult for Jonathan Ross. It's a set lie.
And I really don't see what he can do about this, because if he hits it at any sort of angle, the jack is going to go, and he's going to go away from the red bowls, which he needs to count.
No, so he's just trying to disturb it a little bit, that's all. Try and shake it up a little bit to see if he can develop something. If he's on the red bowl, he's got a chance. Well, it's not looking good, but the jack looks like it's going to go, it's going to move. Heron would be... Well, I would come up and look at this, because I would go deep and stay well away from it. Saggy staying away, sensible. Good back ball. Well, Johnny, I don't think there's anything there for you. It depends whether the jack will move or not. If there's a gap between ball and jack, Johnny might try and just edge onto that. If he can move the ball without moving the jack, which I don't think is possible, ball will go. I have a feeling the jack will also move.
Nothing too scientific here, I think. It's a question of hit and hope. And not so much hope.
No, well, it's not going to get back from out there with the sort of pace that he needs. It's going to be 1 to green. A very comprehensive set win for Heron.
1 shot green, second set to green, tie break. Jonathan won the toss and has given the mat to Hirendra.
Nothing new about that. Jonathan wants the last ball. Three-end tiebreak, of course, always a little bit hairy for the players because it's an unpredictable science. Tactics change, just win the end, no accumulated shots. I always think sometimes, though, if you win the toss, it gives you a slight advantage.
Yes, normally if you win the toss, you put your opponent in, so you have the last bowl, and so you'll have the last bowl on the first and third ends. The opponent will have that advantage on the second end.
Yes, the reason why I would do it with Heron is that his first ball has not always been his best ball, so you have a chance to beat it with your first. It's not bad, but it's not going to be close enough. There hasn't been too much in this match, which has been a dramatic difference between jack lengths.
Good reply. Just stuck out a little to the side. Well, Hirendra sticking with the forehand. I thought he might have played that on the backhand, Corky.
Well, it would make more sense in terms of the bigger target, but it depends if he likes the forehand, but he's not reaching. That's the problem. The shots against the tiebreak, the one thing you don't want to do is drop short. That's 2 short balls. I think that might just force him to think about the backhand. And that's number 2 and the best one. It's going to be difficult. That's where I thought, like yourself, David, Hirendra should have been on the backhand.
It's a little too late for him to go on the backhand now, because that bowl is slightly short of the jack.
Well, he's going on the backhand, but I can't see him drawing it. He's left the ball too late, so he's on the inside line to try and disturb something. This will whip across really quickly. There it goes, bye-bye.
Yes, he hasn't played this end very well at all. He spoilt his chances by dropping 2 bowls short of the jack. Not all that short, about a couple of feet. On a perfect line. You're not obviously trying. You're not trying to do that, of course.
No, but he's played Jonathan at his own game here by going short jack length. Playing against Jonathan, play up to 27, 28 metres, go a bit longer. Well, short jack length, he's too good at those short jacks.
Well, I don't think Jonathan wants anything anywhere near this. It's either block the backhand approach or put one behind the jack.
I think I would go wide, actually. On the forehand, go wide and just try and cover the width. Well, he's coming into the head. He really shouldn't be there.
Well, that isn't a very good bowl. Although, having said that, Hirendra's in a load of trouble.
3 red.
Well, he is, but It's finished okay for Johnny because he hasn't left the shoulder, but it's possible, I'm saying it's possible, that if he plays through to that ball, he could actually squeeze the jack back up the rink again.
We don't see that happen very often, but it does happen. It can happen, and a little bit of ballistics in there, and those front two green balls could count.
This would be a miracle ball.
More weight.
Caught at the front. No way that was ever going to work. Should have played that way with the last ball. It's advantage to Ross.
Yes, first blood to Ross on the tie-break. 1-0, he leads. And he's only got to win one of the next two ends. Preferably, I'm sure, from his point of view, the next one. It's his turn to deliver the jack this time, and it's Hirendra's turn to have the last bowl of the end.
Well, yes, don't give the jack away there to Jonathan. It was his option. There we go. We're just waiting for a little bit of a disturbance to be sorted out. Reset again. Well, Johnny's pushed this jack long by the looks of it.
Yes, a full-length jack here from Jonathan Ross. I think he knows how dangerous Hiren can be with a firm delivery. And firm deliveries are always more difficult, stands to reason, on a long jack than a short jack.
It's a good starter bowl within a few inches of the jack. That is close enough to be counting for most of this end. That distance. Was he thinking about running this with his first ball? Well, he's on a good line. It's all on pace. Will he make it to the jack in time? Just and no more. Good ball. Just got there in time to hang on to it.
I'm not sure he's got the shot. Andy Ewins will tell us.
Very, very close. Slight favouring for the green, but it's very close.
Andy's pretty good at that, so I'd be inclined to go with him on this one. Johnny will not take any chances. He'll be reaching this. A chance of turning his own ball or getting inside to the jack. Worth reaching with a little bit of pace. On the line. The weight's good.
Very well played.
Well, no mistake.
Well done, John Ross.
One red and a measure.
I would be inclined to play this with pace now because that front plant will take the red ball out or else get to the jack clean. I wouldn't worry about trying to draw this one. Well, has he given this a pace on that line because it will whip very quickly. There it goes. That was the problem. He didn't have the power. Well, that was a mistake. Shots against you, you do not want to be short.
Well, Jonathan Ross won the first set, 11-4. That was had a rather nasty surprise in the second set, which Hirendra Bhartu rather dominated, winning it 9-2.
Yes, and he played well second set, but he's been negative. In a tie-break situation, actually, he's been quite negative in the last end, and indeed in this end.
Well, I don't think he'll be negative now, Corky.
Well, two balls will go.
Stand back for fireworks.
Controlled weight, because he'll want the jack, but the front plant would do. Not an easy shot at this distance.
Controlled weight, as you say. Bit less than a drive.
Well, that's a good ball. Very, very good ball. Front plant was always going to take the 2 reds away.
And we're back now to the measure, which Andy Ewins thought he favoured the green. Everything else is gone.
I think you'll find it's changed a little bit, David, because whenever you hit that green ball, and we'll see it here, it would have slid across the green or the rink just a little bit. There it goes. It just moves slightly before making contact with the other red ball.
Well, if that's the case and it's moved closer to the jack, then it would. My money would be on it. And it certainly looks like it from the rings. 1 to green.
Either way, Johnny will not be taking any chances. He'll run this ball or jack. If he favours the shots against him, he has to attack this.
Well, his last 2 bowls have been virtually perfect. He's drawn into the count with his last 2 bowls. It's only a question of the same again.
I think he'll play more to it. Well, he's out on a high line. This is all about a connection with his own ball. If he gets a connection, he could get the shot. Well, if Heron's not sure, he'll draw it on the forehand, but I favour it's 1 green. I think he might be declaring this, is he?
No, I think he was waiting to see if Jonathan Ross would concede it. Jonathan's saying nothing.
Oh, you can't concede it. He's declared the head. Markers coming out with the umpire.
Has he? He's decided not to bowl the last bowl?
Yes, he's declared the head. He favours his line the shot, so he's saying, I'll leave it in the hands of the umpire to sort it out.
Ah, that's fine. He must be very confident then that green is going to win this measure.
A heck of a shock if it isn't. It's a long way back to Canada if you've got this one wrong. Now, Johnny would not declare the head. He reckoned it was a measure. Heron's out. Well, I'm lining the shot, so I'm not worried. Oh, it's in. It's well in.
Second end green.
Yes, green shot. So Hirendra's 3rd bowl did the damage there, took the shot. Jonathan Ross couldn't retrieve, and it's 1-1 in the tie-break. Couldn't be closer. So Hirendra Bhartu, who has already put out 1 seeded player in Andy Thompson, is within 1 shot of eliminating another seed in Jonathan Ross. Whoever scores on this end claims a place in the quarter-finals of the Welsh International Open.
Well, that's not a good starter. Anything behind the jack is always useful, but that's dropped a good half a metre short. And this is exactly why Jonathan gave the jack to Heron to play his first ball. Means Johnny's got a chance to beat it with this one and have the last ball. He hasn't beaten it, but at least it's useful back there. This needs to be a bit wider.
And just possible that the fact that Jonathan Ross has the last bowl of the end might prove crucial.
He may do, but he won't want to use it. And it's pacey, but it's on the red one. Nothing too close at the moment.
Not a winning shot there yet.
No, it's advantage red at the moment because red have got 3 balls left. I can see Johnny getting out of this by the skin of his teeth. He's made the correction. Oh yes, very much made the correction.
Yes, well bowled.
1 red.
Two or 3 inches between bowl and jack.
Well, it's a big ball. I'm not sure if it's going to peg back quick enough. To be honest, we're waiting to see. It just looks like it's hanging off to me. It has, and he's topped it down, and that makes it a lot better for Jonathan.
It's much safer for the man from Belfast.
Well, it's advantage Ross now in a big way. I think Heron had to do it with the third ball.
He was very, very close. It was a good effort, Cook. He made contact with the target bowl.
It was a good effort because he had the weight to get to the jack or rest the ball off. Very, very close, but just caught the edge, and that's made the ball so much better.
Yes, he didn't like that. Not the way it finished.
I think if I was Johnny, I would stay away from that and try and draw it into this side. Hirendra almost certainly try and move the jack over that direction.
And now you've got to be looking to where the jack is likely to go, and also at the position for the spots in case it's killed.
Third end of the tie break, remember, David, it can burn the head.
But you have to say that that is your intention. You've got to nominate it first.
Absolutely. It's the last delivery for the Canadian to try and save the match. Johnny will be very relieved. There's the cover ball going in.
Yes, that covers the spot. So I shouldn't be surprised that the Canadian will nominate a killed end. He's very good at the firing shots. If he could hit the jack, it'll squeeze off the rink and they'll replay the end.
Well, that's what he's looking for. The ideal result, in many ways, actually would be just to get to the edge of the ball, run it off, would leave that shot the winner. But the jack off would do the same job. In fact, he hasn't nominated it, though. That's the problem.
Well, we haven't heard him nominate it, and we would normally hear the match official announce the nomination. If he's going to go for it, he's going for the clip off the face of the jack. Can he do it?
Oh, I don't believe he's trying to draw this. It's a man who's been running balls, have been absolutely wonderful. And he's trying to draw the shot.
He's close again, you know. He's very, very close.
Oh, what a ball! Oh.
That was a wonder ball.
What a ball! I don't believe he even attempted to play that shot. That was truly brilliant.
1 green.
That, to me, without doubt, is the ball of the championship. No doubt whatsoever.
Well, there was just a hint of criticism in your voice as he played this as a draw rather than a firing shot, but I suppose you'll take it all back now.
Oh, you have to, because that was as gutsy a shot as I've seen for a long time. You know, the percentages were on to hit it and to burn the head, but he decided, this is a man whose running balls have been superb, but he decided to try and draw it, and all credit to the man. To draw within 2 inches with match against him is a remarkable ball.
And I think that hurt Jonathan Ross very much. I think he was feeling that he was back in the pavilion.
Johnny will be trying to edge that ball off, try and run it off if he can. If he squeezes the jack out to this one, it'll do the same job. Oh, a remarkable ball by Heron to play that. If he gets away with this one, he will remember that ball for the rest of his life.
Right, this is it then, the last bowl of the end, and this could win the game for Jonathan Ross.
Well, Johnny's good at the running ball. He's normally very accurate, and he's on a good line with this. He's making a connection to something. Yes, he's got it. He's got it back.
Well, the set and the match to red.
Two of the best bowls that you could see at the end of that match. What a way to finish. You've got to realise that you've got Jonathan Ross on a Friday night. Now we've got Jonathan Ross on a Tuesday night in Llanelli. He's the winner. He's in the quarter-final. Well, a little bit of celebration there from Jonathan Ross as he plays the winner, but he wasn't expecting to have to play that. It was a great bowl from him, but let's spare a thought for Hirendra Bhartu, who played a great bowl with his last bowl and force his opponent into playing that sort of winner.